Here's what nobody tells you about Atherton. Everything can change after a street cross. 2 houses, same size, same lot, 1 street apart, and there's a $2 million price gap between them. Why? A school boundary you can't see by just looking around. Most people assume every street in America's most expensive zip code is the same, but it's not even close. So today, I'm breaking down Atherton's tiers to help you find the best fit without paying the extra millions. Now let me ask you, have you heard of Lloyd Park? No? Well, it breaks every single rule of traditional Atherton, and certain buyers are obsessed with it because of that. This is the only neighborhood in the entire town with sidewalks. It has a grid layout. There's a genuine suburban community feel that simply doesn't exist anywhere else here. It was designed as a walkable neighborhood, which makes it feel less like a rural estate zone and more like a high-end extension of Menlo Park. Let me tell you what that means for daily life. Residents walk to downtown Menlo Park restaurants, they stroll to Caltrain Station, and they get to see their neighbors. This is a lifestyle impossibility in West Atherton where you might not cross paths with the person next door for weeks. This is a neighborhood where you might actually see your neighbors often. That sense of community is genuinely rare when you're spending this kind of money. Now, the lots are smaller here, often 1/4 to 1/2 an acre instead of Atherton's standard of 1 acre or more. For some buyers, that sounds like a downgrade, but for others, it's the entire point. I've worked with families who deliberately choose smaller lots in Lloyd Park over large ones elsewhere. They wanted their kids riding bikes on actual sidewalks, to know neighbors by name, and to grab some food without starting a car. The numbers reflect this positioning. A 2,200 square foot 3-bedroom home on almost a 12,000 square foot lot here was sold in August 2025 for just $3.8 million. Yet we have seen prices across the board anywhere from $3 to $5 million in this neighborhood. That makes it the most accessible tier for buyers prioritizing lifestyle over acreage. Now, the honest trade-offs. The grid layout means less seclusion. You're not hidden behind massive gates here. Proximity to the Caltrain tracks affects certain streets more than others. I always tell clients to spend time in the neighborhood at different hours before making the final decision. But here's what I find interesting about Lloyd Park. It attracts a specific type of buyer, someone who could afford more isolation but actively doesn't want it. That says something about what luxury actually means to different people. So speaking of different definitions of luxury, what if you want that balance? Not fully isolated, not fully exposed, with massive oak trees creating a canopy overhead, and a neighborhood where the growth trajectory might be in the most interesting story in all of Atherton right now. But before we jump into our next tier, let me show you why I'm the right person to help you. I am Jessica Heredia, a Silicon Valley real estate agent guiding buyers and sellers in this market. I have spent years studying how the peninsula really works, from zoning documents to MLS data, to help buyers make that perfect offer. Whether you're a tech executive, an investor, or want to relocate to a higher standard of living in ultra-luxury markets, understanding how Atherton developed gives you a real advantage in how you think about this entire region. And if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Every week I share clear, data-driven breakdowns like this to help you understand how Silicon Valley really works, so you can make smarter decisions with your real estate. If you are a buyer who wants Atherton address without the Atherton premium, pay attention to what I have to say. Most people overlook this neighborhood, and that's exactly why it's interesting. Atherton Oaks sits in central Atherton between Middlefield Road and El Camino Real. It offers a balance between the massive estates of the west and the smaller lots near the train tracks. But the defining characteristic, the trees. Protected heritage oaks created a shaded, park-like atmosphere you won't find anywhere else in town. And yes, they are protected by the city. The canopy you see today will remain for generations. That's not marketing, that's just the law. Here's what I'm seeing on the ground right now that creates opportunity. There's a stark contrast between 20 million new modern construction homes and an unrenovated 1950s ranch home sitting right next door. That mix creates entry points for buyers who understand the dynamics. Recently, a home was sold for $6.8 million. The newer one, built 3 doors down, sold for over $20 million. This difference tells you everything about where this neighborhood sits in the hierarchy. The median sold price hit $8.9 million in September of 2025, but let me direct you about the trade-offs. School zone boundaries vary street by street in Atherton Oaks. Some addresses, such as those close to Fair Oaks Lane, may fall into the Redwood City School District. However, most will fall into the Menlo Park District. Before you make any offer, verify which school your specific property feeds into. The mixed inventory also means your neighborhood aesthetic might not match yours. That $20 million modern glass mansion next to your 1950s fixer-upper, that's the reality here. If you're the buyer who wants Atherton's central location, that irreplaceable oak canopy, and you're comfortable with the school district lottery, this neighborhood might just be for you. Now, what if you want the community feel of Lloyd Park, but the privacy standards of West Atherton? What if you want neighbors you'll actually know, but gates that keep keep the rest of the world out. There's one neighborhood that solves all of that contradiction, and it comes with stone gates over 140 years old. All preserved from a century ago, the original gates, the fountains, the street lamps. Lindenwood was once the 600-acre estate of James Flood, the Silver King, who made his fortune in the Comstock Lode. When you drive through those JCF gates off Middlefield today, you're entering a space designed over 100 years ago to feel separate from everything around it, and it still does. Lindenwood is physically walled off from the surrounding areas, no through traffic. The winding streets create a loop that completely prevents commuters from cutting through. Here's what that means practically. Delivery drivers need specific instructions to find houses here. That might sound like an inconvenience, but residents actually consider it a security feature. This makes Lindenwood arguably one of the safest neighborhoods in Atherton for families. Kids cycle on the streets without parents worrying about random vehicles appearing from nowhere. But here's what really sets Lindenwood apart, and this surprised me when I first started working in this market. Lindenwood has the strongest neighborhood identity in all of Atherton. There's an active association organizing annual events. Neighbors actually want to get to know each other, and that's a community within exclusivity. It's genuinely rare at this level of real estate. Most ultra-luxury buyers have to choose between connection and privacy. Lindenwood offers both. Almost all lots here are around 1 acre, ensuring uniform density. That prevents the kind of overdevelopment that changes a neighborhood's character over time. What you buy into today will still feel the same in 20 years. The school situation is favorable. Lindenwood feeds primarily into the Menlo Park City School District, with Laurel and Encinal Elementary ultimately leading into Hillview Middle and Menlo Atherton High. Median selling price is $7.5 million, but that number can be misleading. Listings for larger estates here often exceed $10 million, with one of its highest sales being $16.8 million. The median reflects a mix of land value sales and finished homes. One fact to note, remodeling in Lindenwood can be subject to strict neighborhood guidelines. The community wants to preserve the historic character. If you're planning a dramatic modern glass and steel redesign, that might create friction within the community. But if you value heritage and architectural continuity, those same guidelines protect your investment. The rules that might frustrate a buyer are exactly what another buyer is paying for. Now, what if you want even more seclusion than Lindenwood? What if you want to disappear into nature, wake up to the peninsula or hillside views, and still get the gold standard Las Lomitas School District? There's a tier most people completely overlook, and that's exactly why savvy buyers pay attention. If you're a buyer who values tranquility and a peaceful life over social scenes and want that Las Lomitas School District, this is your tier. West of Alameda offers Atherton's most rural hillside setting. We're talking winding roads, mature oaks and redwoods, and long drives that create maximum privacy. Properties here run from $8 million to $25 million plus, depending on size, views, and amenities. One new construction home just hit the market for $57 million, but not open to the public eye. And normality, the homes here have plenty of space inside. But here's what makes this tier genuinely special. You still get the prestigious Las Lomitas School District, the same gold standard as West Atherton. That's the key difference. Same school as West Atherton, but with a completely different character. Lot sizes typically run 1 to 2 acres with some larger pieces of land available, offering substantial estate living surrounded by oak-studded hills, creeks, and breathtaking views of the San Francisco Peninsula. And if you're commuting to Sand Hill Road, Sanford, or the tech campuses, the proximity to I-280 makes this the most convenient tier in all of Atherton. I've shown buyers properties here where the same budget gets you very different experiences. Flat usable land in West Atherton versus panoramic peninsula views in the west of Alameda, and certain buyers deliberately choose the hills. That view at sunrise, you can't replicate it on a flat ground. But let me be direct about the trade-offs. The hillside terrain means properties may have slopes and less flat usable land compared to central Atherton estates. This neighborhood feels more removed from downtown Menlo Park. You're not walking to dinner here, you're definitely driving. And while the area is quiet, properties closer to I-280 may experience some highway noise, particularly during peak traffic hours. The vast distance between homes and the secluded nature means a less neighborhood atmosphere than in Lindenwood or Lloyd Park. You'll find a mix of 1960s and 70s hillside estates, often expanded over the decades, alongside 1980s and 90s custom homes and modern rebuilds designed to maximize those views. If you are the buyer who wants to disappear into nature without sacrificing the Las Lomitas School District, you're in the right place. If you value privacy and seclusion over the social scene of West Atherton or the community identity of Lindenwood, this is definitely your tier. And if you understand that the less flat land is the trade-off for waking up to peninsula views every morning, and you're making the trade fade on purpose, be welcome. So far, we've covered 4 tiers: entry points, walkable anomalies, gated communities, and hillside retreats. But if you want to understand what Silicon Valley wealth looks like at its absolute peak, where starter homes may cost $13 million and your neighbors include founders of companies you use every single day, then here's a place to look. This is a tier where everything changes. One that some may argue in competition with west of Alameda, but I believe strongly wins due to its walkability. Welcome to West Atherton, a picture that shows exactly what people imagine about Silicon Valley. The wealth is as concentrated as possible. It sits west of El Camino, bordering Valparaiso Avenue, the Menlo Circus Club, and Alameda de las Pulgas. And let me break down what makes this tier different from everything else we've talked about so far in this video. The lots here range anywhere from 1 to 3 acres, and hills are absolutely non-existent. The privacy hedges are so high that you often can't see the homes from the street. Massive setbacks, towering walls, no sidewalks, a level of seclusion that simply doesn't exist anywhere else on the peninsula. I've been inside estates here where the guest house is larger than the other primary homes in Atherton neighborhoods, and I'm not exaggerating. The scale is different to comprehend until you've walked the properties yourself. The median list price here sits around $13 million, but here's what most people don't realize. The truly significant transactions here never hit the MLS, similar to west of Alameda neighborhood. Estates frequently trade for 30, 40, or even 50 million and beyond. By the time you see a West Atherton listing, it's often already been shown privately to a network of qualified buyers. Walking distance to the Menlo Circus Club matters more than you might think. This members-only venue hosts polo matches and charity events throughout the year. It's a social anchor for this community, a reflection of the lifestyle that West Atherton represents. The school situation here is as good as it gets, with easy access to come of the best privates in the area. West Atherton is split between the Menlo Park City School District and the Los Lomitas School District when it comes to public schools. Children attend Los Lomitas Elementary and La Entrada Middle. In this market, those schools are the gold standard. But let me zoom out for a second, because there's something worth understanding about buyer psychology at this level. Why do those who live here choose this level of isolation over community? Why pay a premium specifically for distance from other people? West Atherton offers something you can't manufacture or replicate: complete control over your environment. No unexpected visitors, no through traffic from most streets, no visibility from the street, and no one is breaking your privacy. For people who are constantly in the public eye, like tech founders, executives, and investors whose names make the news, privacy isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Every dollar of the premium reflects that. The barrier to entry is considerable, but for buyers at this level, West Atherton isn't a purchase. It's a statement about how they want to live. So now, you've seen all 5 tiers. The question is, which one actually fits you? Here's the framework I use with clients to match them to the right Atherton neighborhood. Not the most impressive one, not the most expensive one, the right one. West Atherton is for buyers whose primary concerns are seclusion, estate-scale living, and the most prestigious address in Silicon Valley. If you want complete privacy, flat lots, and to disappear behind gates, and if prestige matters, this is your tier. A good starting budget here is 10 to 13 million with no budget. West of Alameda is for buyers who want Los Lomitas schools with hillside privacy and peninsula views. If you value nature, seclusion, and convenient freeway access over flat land and neighborhood socializing, this is your tier. The budget range can be anywhere from 8 to 30 million plus. Lindenwood is for families who want community within exclusivity. The historic gates, the active neighborhood association, streets that are safe for children. If you value connection with neighbors while maintaining Atherton's privacy standards, Lindenwood delivers both. Budget range can be anywhere from 7 million to 30 million plus, depending on the estate. Atherton Oaks is your entry point into Atherton's central core. If you want that protected oak canopy, a central location, and you're comfortable verifying school districts street by street, the budget range can be anywhere from 6 to 20 million, also depending on your estate. Now, Lloyd Park is for buyers who prioritize a walkable luxury lifestyle over acreage and is a great entry point neighborhood to get into Atherton. If you want to stroll to dinner, wish for sidewalks for morning runs, or enjoy a community feel that's almost impossible to find at this price point, the budget ranges from 3 million to 5 million. And take a note, here's the biggest mistake I see. Buyers may choose based on price alone without understanding these lifestyle trade-offs. They find the cheapest property in Atherton and they think they've won. Then they realize their kids are in different school districts than they expected, they hear traffic noise every morning, they may feel isolated from the community they imagined joining. Did they really get value, or did they just get an address? And if you're considering the move to one of these neighborhoods, feel free to contact me. You can email me at hello@liveinsilicon.com SiliconValleyCA.com. Text me, call me, or reach me on social media. All my contacts are in the description below. Now tell me, which tier caught your attention and what matters most to you? I'll share what I'm seeing right now, including properties that haven't even hit the MLS yet. Because in a market where the best homes trade privately, having early access isn't just helpful, it's often the difference between getting the home and watching someone else get it. One thing we must agree on, every tier of Atherton serves a different vision of life and luxury. And let me warn you about something. I've watched it happen way too many times. Someone spends $8 million plus to say they live in Atherton, but their daily life doesn't match with what they pictured. Meanwhile, someone else spends $4 million in Lloyd Park and gets exactly the experience that they hoped and wanted. Now, price isn't the only variable. Fit matters more. The happiest Atherton homeowners I know aren't the ones who bought the biggest house or the most prestigious address. They're the ones who understand what they actually wanted from daily life and bought the neighborhood that matched. The unhappiest ones bought the prestige without considering the lifestyle. So before you think about neighborhoods, think about this. What does a Tuesday morning look like for you? And what does a Saturday afternoon look like for you? Are you the person who wants to walk to brunch or the person who never wants to see another human until you choose to? Your answer determines your tier. And before going, here's something I keep getting asked. Is Atherton even the right call? Or is there a neighborhood nearby that delivers 80% of the lifestyle at half the price? Stay tuned for next week's video where I dive into Redwood City neighborhoods. I'll see you there. Bye bye for now.